then we've got Jonah Andal, who is not here, a fellow 536 miler. And then next up we have Mateo Seja, who is not here, but he's a 5:56, so another under 6 minutes, and 11:58 for his 2 mile. Then we've got Dr. Lassus. Doc's been running a 6:15 for his 1 mile and a 13:17 for his 2 mile. And yeah, it really goes to round out. So we'll have 4 of these 7 coming back for us next school year to continue. And we definitely have selecting our top 7 for our boys team was a challenge. We had quite a few boys that were all really close together. That I think is they were another year older. I think we're going to have a really strong veteran crew on the team next year, which I'm super excited to see how they all do. And then okay. They love photos. Never take now to the smile.
Smiles.
Wait, one more. There we go.
You guys got used to this after the weekend. Yeah, that's for you. Eat this. Alright, so we got our boys there. Then we've had our most impressive pro runner of probably Viking cross country history, as far as we've been able to get previous coaches from years past dating back. We've not been able to really figure out anybody else that was in this sphere of athleticism, the sport. We've got Anna Sorge, 8th grader from River Trail. Anna ended up placing 11th in the entire state out of 220 girls. Every other race, including sectionals, she placed 1st and 2nd the whole entire season. Every dual meet, every invite we went to, sectionals. So this 11th place was very well deserved and very much expected. And you delivered. You did awesome. Her mile time was 5:44, and then her 2 mile PR is a 12:05. And she, without any doubt, will most definitely be running in high school next year. And the high school coaches are so excited. They're expecting a very stacked girls' high school team next year. So, we'll miss you.
Right here. Okay, great.
Well, on behalf of the
Oh,
board,
and I will say, we really appreciate being able to take the bus down the state. It was really nice and really fun, some good team bonding on the ride down, which was a lot of fun and very memorable part of the whole trip for us. So thank you for that.
on behalf of the Board of Education, we are extremely proud of what was accomplished by our student athletes in cross country, boys and girls. being an athletic director at a high school, being athletic administrator for 25 years, we always like to see when our athletes do well at the competitive level, at the state level. Obviously, a lot of bright futures ahead in running or whatever. Usually a good runner is usually a pretty good athlete. So we're very excited and wish all of you, the 8th graders, much success moving on. And to our 7th and 6th graders, we look forward to having you back next year. So congratulations, and to the coaches, well done. Great job.
And hopefully some of these guys will be back for a later recognition in these, between wrestling and track.
That's okay with me.
You might not be done seeing them all.
So you have the option now, you can sit for the whole board meeting. You can go home.
This is a hard one, but.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
At this time, we need a motion to go into the e-learning hearing, or e-learning day hearing.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So, motion to go into the e-learning hearing. Need a second,
Second.
roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
Alright,
All right, so what we have in front of you here is a part of the process that we have to renew our e-learning plan every 3 years, have it approved by the board. And part of this public hearing is to offer the community, parents, staff, an opportunity to make any comments on our e-learning plan. Nothing from the e-learning plan that was established years and years ago has changed. So I think by now, because of the pandemic and all the things that we've done over the last few years, we have it down to a science, and no changes are really necessary to our e-learning plan. So there are no changes really on it. All the platforms, all the devices, all the supports that we have had in place in the past will continue to be in place in the event that we call an e-learning day in lieu of snow, cold, or an emergency day. So if there are any questions, I can.
there's still a limitation, the number that you can use per
Yes.
school year.
5 days is the limitation right now.
Is that new or is that?
That has been in place for a while.
Okay.
Yes, I think for emergency days have been passed forever.
Right. Yeah, any questions? Alright, public participation? Seeing no one's here, other than people that have to be here. We will move, I need a motion for adjournment from the hearing.
I move the Board of Education adjourn the public hearing on the e-learning days program.
Second. Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, I'm gonna call the regular meeting to order. Approval of the minutes. Any questions on the minutes? Okay, seeing none, need a motion?
I move the Board of Education approve the minutes from September 17th, 2025 regular meeting as presented.
Second.
Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, September financial reports. Mr. DeCosta.
Thank you. The current cash and investment balance of the district as of September 31st, 2025 is $33,854,679.14. Our revenues for September were $9,667,018.47. We had the big property tax bill for the tax year 2024 be collected and dispersed by Lake County, and our revenues for September look really good. In addition, we also had student fees, evidence-based funding, and the trickling of federal grants that where the money has been unfrozen. I will share a little bit more of our where we are at this point of the year later in the agenda. For our expenditures for September were $3,123,406.97. This includes payroll, benefits, as well as other bills that you will be asked to approve today. Tonight, I will be asking the board to approve the revised bill for September for payment in the amount of $824,802.62 for payroll liabilities, and to approve the October bills for payment in the amount of $1,755,403.95. For the activity report, the beginning balance in the activity fund for the month of September was $89,735.55, with revenues totaling $0, but expenditures totaling $4,583.24, leaving the ending balance for the activity fund for August for $85,779.28.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, no questions, I need a motion.
I will. I move that the Board of Education approve the financial reports for September in addition to the revised September and regular October bills for payment as presented.
Second.
Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Public participation again, we have not gained anybody since the last time we had it. So we are gonna move to the report of superintendent.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with district highlights, and I'm gonna turn it over to the principals to do that.
Thank you. We're starting with Spalding, and all of our clubs, most of our clubs, all but one, are up and running already. They've been going for several weeks now. This is our Mad Scientists Club, some pictures of our students who've been working with Mrs. Saki and Mrs. Guffey, two of our first grade teachers. These are second graders working with them on science projects, and it's just wonderful to see the students so engaged. I love when learning looks like play, but you can tell that the learning's happening too. And to be dressed up like scientists and doing that work, even noting down their observations.
Is it on?
No. Okay, and here we are, another routine up and running already, our field trips. So the first field trip was second grade on October 7th. They headed out to Kroll Family Farms. And we had beautiful weather leading up to that day. It rained that morning, but then it cleared up and they had a lovely afternoon. It wasn't too hot. It was one of those just right days. And they enjoyed the corn maze, they enjoyed the animals, and their teachers were really hoping for a great opportunity to build relationships and a sense of teamwork with their classmates, and they were successful in that. And finally, you heard about Reading Power a couple months ago, and Reading Power is also up and running as of the end of September. We have each week 30 volunteers, highly trained volunteers, coming in to work with students. They work with them one-on-one, and you see some pictures here of just a few of those volunteers working with some of those first and second graders, and they've just become a part of our school community already. Everything's going very smoothly, and the reports from students and from their parents are very positive.
All right, at Prairie Trail, now that we're up and running, this lovely bunch of teachers and staff members were able to go to DC. So in July, we spent 2 days at UBLCon, which is the annual event for UBL. If we go backwards, last year for our school improvement plan, we had co-teachers specifically in a cohort that were learning universal design for learning, with the idea behind it providing access and agency for our students to have more choice and voice, but in a meaningful way, as well as access materials in different ways to meet their needs and be able to goal set and meet that. So we blew that out of the water. Specifically, our cohort of special education students, we had a 37% decrease from fall to spring, in the number of students who were 2 or 3 grade levels behind. That was in reading, and in math, 31%. So when we think like big picture, okay, something's working, and that cohort was something that was part of that adventure. So we looked at our SIP team members as well as part of that cohort, and then teachers that not only invested in UDL, but what we saw with their portrait or graduate work. So they were willing to step up for our Portrait Pathways Fair. They were willing to participate in teachers rounds. So we felt like that investment in our school improvement funds would be most useful if we're seeing something that's working, and how do we expand that. So within that trip, we got to meet in the morning, and we divided between sessions. So there was sessions split between roles, needs, interests. So we decided what worked best with us as a group, and we divide, and then we meet back up at lunch and after. And when asked about the feedback and now getting to see it in the classrooms, the biggest impact that teachers are seeing is, one, how their mindset has changed when they're planning. They're asking themselves, who am I excluding? What barriers are going to prevent our students from learning in this particular lesson? What materials can I use to provide access to that information? But also, then they're seeing a confidence boost in their kids. And they're also seeing that willingness to self-advocate. Even our structured learning classroom, they're asking questions about, how do I do this? I need help with this, which is incredible. So I would say what we took out of that is, right, everybody's participating in this. It's part of our school improvement. It is our school improvement plan for this year. And they've been key advocates in making sure that people see the value in that. And the example that I can think of is yesterday walking into a 5th grade PLC, and they were sharing the UDL strategies they were using that week that they saw an impact with. So they're guiding the work themselves, including the co-teachers. So Bree and Maddie were part of the original cohort, and they're leading that 5th grade work. So we're excited to see the impact and how it continues throughout. So thank you for the opportunity. We are using it. Oh, just kidding. That was my first one. I'm sorry. Okay, kindness matters. Yes. So my Save Bullying shirt today. So today's Unity Day, in an effort to spread the kindness and the happiness and the joy around the building. Every student in our building had the opportunity to paint a kindness rock, and we are going to place them out in front of the school. Because if you know, sometimes the shrubbery that grows underneath the awning is not beautiful or kind. So we're working on improving that. So every class got a chance to go to Makerspace and make a mess that was cleaned up nicely, Sean, I promise. But it's graduating. And last but not least, of course, we had Hispanic Heritage Month, October 9th, and it was amazing. Our theme as a school was Believe in the Magic of Reading, so it was only natural that we brought the magic to life for that event. And as you can see in the top left, one of my favorites is the crafts. The amount of adults that were doing the crafts instead of the kids, it was adorable. Really loved it. And in the bottom left, Miss Ritter, always in the 4th grade pod. If you've been there, she turns her room into this whole magical thing. This year was the rainforest. So she provided, along with our school improvement plan, our goal is SEL-related self-regulation. So she wanted to provide a space for people who, right, not, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, overstimulating. So she has space for coloring and doing a group project. Yes, I got lassoed on the top. That was fun. And then we also had Mariachi Trio, and I don't even know what's up. Oh, the face painting. We had 8 Warren Township High School students volunteer that were part of Art Club to paint faces, and they loved it. They were great artists on top of being some other too. And overall, the building just came to life. The amount of investment that our staff put in, and the picture on the top right and the bottom left and the bottom right, I think a lot of times we celebrate on that day, but we forget the amount of work and hours that go into it. So I just wanted to acknowledge our staff for going above and beyond for that time.
Okay. So in our school improvement plan, one of the things that we're really focusing on is the competency, the portrait of graduate competency of contributing citizens. So what we focused on a lot during October was giving our older students an opportunity to really show their mentorship to younger students. So this is a slide of our middle school students going to our K-5 classes to talk about Hispanic heritage. heritage. And so they're sharing, Alejandro's up there in the upper left-hand corner on how to make tamales. And we have students enjoying the tamales. They learn how to do salsa dance. So all of our middle schoolers went into the younger classes to kind of celebrate Hispanic heritage during the month. Oh, wrong way. Oh, totally missed that. And then, because another one of our school improvement goals is to increase reading stamina, we wanted to show our younger students that even the big kids read. And so we had our older students find time with each of the classes and go and read a book to younger students. So they took time in their library time to go in and read either one-on-one or two-on-one with younger students also, so that they could show the younger students what a fluent reader looks like, sounds like, and really encourage them to continue their reading journey. And then we had our 24th annual, I think 23rd annual. This is our fall fun run. It previously was a turkey trot. It just gets too cold in November, so we pushed it to October. And we did get a little rain that day, but we take the whole school, we walk over through the Warren parking lot back to Gallup Park, and we get on the trail back there, and we send the kids off and hope they all come back. Another way that our older students show leadership is our 8th grade team lead members. We assign groups of 4 or 5 of them to the younger classes, and so they're responsible to be with the kids, and they all have little huddles of kids with them, and they run on the trail. Our K1 students run 2 miles, and our 2nd through 8th grade, they run 3 miles. There was a group that got a little far, so they might have gone as many as 6 miles. We're not sure how far they really went, but we had adults out there to bring them back.
I'm excited to share some of the things that are going on in the classrooms at Viking. So in the upper left-hand corner, that is a picture of, most of these are specials. And then the bottom left, those and both of those are pictures of students in the drama classes engaging in group discussions, which is part of the thing that we're focusing on for our school improvement plan is effective communication, Portrait of a Graduate. In the drama classes, they are sharing their own personal stories about how they can relate to plot, theme, dialogue, music, spectacle within the drama productions, and how they can see that in their own lives and also in what's happening in classes. On the right-hand side, students in our music classes are creating their own versions of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star digitally. So they input the information into the iPad and then add layers on top of it to curate their own music genre that means something to them and then share it out with the class. The bottom right are students engaged in 2 different classes, core classes with activities on their iPad. Again, communicating not only with partners to find information and document information relevant to the core class, but also to work through some of the curriculum that we have and engage in higher order thinking skills, because some of that content, those questions are a little bit challenging. Which one?
To the right.
It's the right, thank you. On the right-hand side, those are students that are engaging in vocabulary activities, specifically looking for information that relates back to vocabulary that they have to utilize for their literature circles with the text that they're reading. And then on the right-hand side, the STEAM classes or students engaging in a STEAM activity to create something and then determine which is the structure that was built that can sustain the highest amount of weight. So a little bit of creativity and then experimentation. The last 2, the L ones that involve most of the pictures that are purple, and then the students running, again, engaging in a community activity, but specifically in a life and fitness class, physical education class, in which students worked collaboratively to identify key terms relevant to the unit of study. And then in between finding the terms, they would take time to pace each other. So find the correct term and then run a relay in regards to connecting the academic with the physical. The top right is just a fun little moment. Carolyn Sostak and one of our social workers, Melissa Dunbar, come out to bus duty joyfully every morning, and they found it inspirational and joyful to greet students in the morning, not with a hello good morning, but with a 6 up. We found it hilarious. The last couple, is there one at this also?
There's two.
Okay. These are the students that we had participate in the sectionals. Again, with Tegan on the left as a coach and Carolyn on the right, the students that participated in sectionals. Both the full team and then the boys team on the right, all the girls that went to sectionals this past August 18th, I believe, or I'm sorry, October 18th. And then the most recent competition where students headed to the state competition.
Thank you, for all you guys do. The Hispanic Care tonight was outstanding. I know it's a lot of work, it's a lot of work every year, and I appreciate the commitment that all of you make for that night. Big time, appreciate it.
All right, I have to say one more thing about Hispanic Heritage. You know, I know that there were a lot of things going around in the community, and in talking to other districts, you know, they were canceling their events, you know, such as that, you know, so we were a little nervous, you know, to begin with, but fortunately we had a great turnout at this celebration, and our community showed up, so which was great, you know. So anytime I share that with other people, they're like, wow, you know, you really have a really good a showing, and part of that is the community and the efforts from our staff too. So it was great to see that, and I was so relieved that, you know, that we had a great turnout. So much planning and effort that goes into it for something like that. So kudos to everybody, and thank you to all, you know, who came and enjoyed the food. The food was great, from what I hear, from what I smelled that night. But yeah, so it was great. So all right, moving on to department updates. I'm gonna start with Mr. Da Costa.
Thank you, Dr. Correa. We've had a busy time. We just submitted the budget to the state. We've started the process of the tax levy, two of the most important things that we do in the business department. In addition, next week we are hosting a wellness fair, so a plug for the employees in this room and the employees that may be watching at home. We still have a couple of slots. If you want to do the biometric, you can choose to do that. If you want to do the flu vaccine, you can choose to do that. It's very convenient that the district that is partnering with NIHIP and Empower Health to bring those to our buildings. And we just want to make sure that all of the slots are taken up.
In curriculum and instruction, one of the big things that we had this past month was taking a large group to our Battelle for Kids annual event. I'm not going to give a total update on that event now. We're going to present a formal presentation of what we did as a group at our next board meeting. But that was definitely one of the big highlights of the last month. Our science review is officially underway. Our first meeting with the middle school team was yesterday. It was a fantastic start to the group. Had some reminders of what it means to be a professional learning community and put student learning at the heart of everything that we do. We spent some time reviewing data, and then also making some plans for what resources we're going to look at. And then the greatest amount of excitement was around the team realizing that they were going to be the ones who were going to create our scope and sequence for science, and they felt very empowered by that, so that was great. And then lastly, we are we are preparing for our Veterans Day celebration, which is just a couple of weeks away. If you have a chance to be in any of the schools over the next couple of weeks, you'll see a great display of memorabilia in each of them related to veterans who served in the armed services, who are employees of our school district. So it's pretty cool to see.
I had the opportunity to attend the special directors meeting last week. It was in Rosemont. It was nice not being so far away, so it was very nice that we were close to be able to learn all the updates in Illinois and nationwide with special education programming, as well as many legal updates. We've done some planning for the social, academic, and emotional behavior risk screener. It's also referred to as the SABERS. We've also done training for staff under the Crisis Prevention Institute, so that's our hands-on training, last resort possible, but we've been working on that with the verbal de-escalation with our our staff groups across the buildings. And then we also had the opportunity to do training for our cardiac emergency response teams. So we were able to do Prairie Trail, and we were able to, Prairie Trail as well as Spalding. And we have these nice little red packs that are right on our lanyards now. So should we need to use a face shield when we do CPR, should there be an emergency, we are ready to go. So we've been really busy across people services.
In the multilingual department, I attended this month the bilingual program directors, where we learn about all the changes, updates, and assessment for multilingual learners. We also had our first bilingual advisory, parent advisory meeting. Also collaborating with principals, specifically with Mrs. Giorcaris at Viking, where we partner with one of the instructional coaches and a staff member, and we presented together about why we're using the shelter instruction observation protocol. I also met with the multilingual department to develop goals for all of our students on their language development progress. Met with the middle school report card committee to continue the work that we've started in the summer. The kindergarten teachers are finalizing their kids assessment data, and today I submitted the assessment inventory survey. The state requires each school district to report information concerning the administration of a standardized test that we provide to our students.
In maintenance and custodial, we finished our annual health life safety inspection at all of our facilities. We only have minor things to fix at all of our buildings, so those are ongoing right now. River Trail School received a new backflow preventer on our main water in. That device lasted about 34 years, so we got our life out of that. We also completed interviews for our day maintenance position, and we'll be recommending a hire for the board tonight on that. And we've also done our boiler startups and tune-ups are in progress this week for our district. We are working with our gas company for rebates for all of those tune-ups.
In tech, I had a meeting with our E-rate consultants, and I'm happy to announce that E-rate is back for another 5-year cycle, and great news, there was a 20% increase, so we are now getting $201 per student for E-rate. So one of the projects that I'm looking to do over the next 5 years, possibly starting next year, is upgrading our network. So I've started taking meetings and talking to vendors to see what's out there, what's new, so that way I can get a jump start at, with the E-rate process. The other thing we've done, the K-12 tech forum is back, so it's just a local tech forum for all of Lake County, and I was able to send 3 of my new techs to that forum, so they get to network, get a little bit of food, and see what's going on in technology. So I was happy that I was able to send them all.
All right, any questions?
Thank you.
Great. Moving on to professional leave conferences, we have a couple of our social workers attending the Social Work Association conference in Springfield. Actually, they'll be there tomorrow and Friday. So yeah, and then we have our assistant principal attending a virtual admin academy for as part of the requirements. Any questions about that? All right, FOIA requests this month, we had 3 total. One of them listing all of Gurney employees, first and last names, email addresses, title, position, and primary school or district location. We provided that information. The second one did not apply to us because they were asking for National Honor Society and National Merit Scholarship information. So we responded to that. And then the third one, similar to the first, was a listing of all Gurney employees, full legal names, job titles, email addresses, assigned school and site, and current annual salary. So we provided all that information. Any questions about the FOIA requests? Okay, all right, moving on to old business. e-learning days program resolution. If there are any questions about that, as I mentioned in the hearing, it is part of a process that we have to go through every 2 years to approve our e-learning program, and then every year we submit that to the ROE as part of our preparation for winter. So winter is coming. That is not a Game of Thrones reference. But yes, so if there are not any questions, then we'll need a motion.
I'll do it. I move the Board of Education approve the resolution to adopt an e-learning days program and move the district's scheduled emergency days as presented by the administration.
Second.
Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have the second meeting for board policy monitoring. There were no changes recommended to the policies presented last month. Are there any questions about the policies for the second meeting? If not, then we need a motion.
I'll do it. I move the Board of Education approve any recommended changes to board policy under review and to adopt those policies as presented by the administration.
Second.
Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, new business, first reading. So you have a little bit more reading to do this for next month. There's nothing, no action necessary for today, but you do have those policies to review. There are no changes recommended to those policies. There hasn't been any change in legislation that impact those policies. So take a look, and if there are any questions, we can answer them next month if you have any. Okay. Alrighty. Tax levy. I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Lacosta.
Thank you again. So the tax levy process is a three-step process where during the October meeting, we talk about what we believe the tax rates should be. During the November 19th meeting, we actually approve the levy, and then the levy gets filed the last Thursday of the calendar year with the Lake County clerk. Just a little information about the levy. So local sources of revenues are the biggest sources of revenues that the district has. About 80% of all of our revenues come from property taxes. We live in Lake County, and in Lake County, taxes are capped. So I think that is very important for our community to hear, to know that there is a cap on all of our property taxes for existing dwellings. So if you own a home and that home is currently existing, it's not a new construction, the most the taxes can be are related to CPI. CPI has been slowing down over recent years. As we all know, the economy continues to slow. The Fed is talking about 2 new cuts to the interest rates to try to begin to stimulate the economy. But over the last couple of years, we've seen that our economy is slowing, meaning that the CPI currently for this tax levy is 2.9, and it looks like it's going to continue to decrease for next year. So existing dwellings, we are capped into how much we can ask of people for taxes. However, we have the opportunity to look at the new constructions and ensure that we ask that the new constructions pay as much as they can within the bigger population to offset the taxes of other people. And by requesting the levy that I am requesting today of 4.99%, we begin to do that. That rate is not for existing dwellings, only for new construction. The thing with new construction is that it's a gamble. So I included in the board packet what the Lake County assessor believes new property is going to be valued at. So they are predicting $3,784,516 in new construction that will come on to the tax rolls. We cannot know if that is truly what the value will be assessed at when they are assessed next year, but we are hoping, right, that we get as much of that share as possible. If we end up getting a little bit less by asking for a percentage as 4.99, it's gonna allow us to get as much of that for the upcoming school year. We know that there's gonna continue to be budget cuts along the way at the state and federal level. Those are realities that we need to be ready for in the upcoming years. We are taking into account that by making sure that 80% of our sources of revenue continue to increase as much as they can to continue the operations of the district. The reality is that we are looking for this new construction revenue because we know what our contractual obligations are to our teachers and staff, and so it is that our recommendation to the board that we, for the new construction, seek that 4.99 tax levy. Any questions?
Okay, with no questions, I need a motion.
I move the Board of Education approve the tax levy rates as recommended by the administration.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Right? Mr. Acosta?
Perfect. So at the end of September, we were a fourth done with the school year, and so for our quarterly budget presentation to the board, I created a couple of slides that were shared with you. But as I shared, in September, revenues from last year's tax levy came in, and they put our revenues at a higher percentage than how long we've been in this year. So right now, we've collected 29% of our total revenues for the year, even though we've gone 25% of the school year. Having gone 25% of the school year, we have spended only 23.83%. So our ratios are looking good. We know that at January, we're gonna have some expenses with paying our debt. We know that there's other expenses that will come along the way when revenues slow down in the second half of the school year, but at this point of the school year, we're incredibly happy with the way that the revenues are outpacing our expenditures.
Any questions? All right, no vote here.
No vote. So moving up to Mr. Acosta and Mr. Smith.
Thank you. We're gonna hand out some menus. These are menus from our current vendor. If these menus make you hungry, you cannot order tonight. I'm looking at.
You can't do that to us.
I apologize. I'm gonna let you guys share. All right, so this evening we're gonna talk about the proposal of our kitchen that we are considering putting on and in our district. This is something that we've been talking about for a little while. Sorry. There we go. And so we're going to start off at the beginning with it, with our 3-year capital improvement. Sorry, thank you. With our 3-year capital improvement plan. We did this. Eric and I built this about 3 years ago, and as we went through this, we started to look at the bigger bones of the district that needed to be replaced. And we started looking at security, HVAC, roofing, flooring, and et cetera. And one of the options that a 3-year capital improvement plan from our DSEB, or our debt service extension base, gives us is the ability to use the funding to put on an addition. And so that is something that we put into this plan. The money that we get for this has very specific rules of how we can spend it. We can only spend it on improvement plans for the district, so capital improvement plans, not on education. So it really just comes to Mr. Esteban and myself. And when we design this, we have to submit this to the state to let them know what we're going to spend this money on and why we're levying it. So we started to get together as a team and look at what are the advantages of a kitchen for our district. And we started to look at what we were currently offering our students and thought that with a kitchen in our own district, we can improve the quality of our food and freshness. And currently what we're doing is we're utilizing Warren. We're making our deliveries, food deliveries to Warren. We're storing it at Warren, and then we're bringing that food out to our schools. We can elevate the menu options for our students, which is what you just received. Those menus that you have before you give you the ability to see what we can offer our students if we have our own kitchen. And then reallocating the cost of renting Warren's kitchen. Currently, we rent that space from them. So we rent their coolers and their slicers and all of their equipment. And that cost is about $15,600 that we can bring back into our district. So that's something that we considered as well. Having our own kitchen gives us competitive bidding because we have our own kitchen. More people are going to be willing to bid on our project, which we have to do about every 5 years, versus using a satellite kitchen like that and being operated only under Warren's conditions. So this gives us some flexibility and competitive bidding. We also can have less food delivery by traveling. What that means is if we put a kitchen at one of our buildings, now we're only delivering our food to 3 facilities instead of 4 facilities. And that is something that we actually put in our bidding that we make our kitchen supplier do for us. That's not something that we do, our kitchen supplier does for us. Sustainability and better control of product waste. Because we have the ability to store our own food, we have the ability to protect how much waste we're using or utilizing. So we can order more correctly and not have to fight for space with Warren. And because we'll have our own coolers, we have that availability to limit the amount of product waste. Reduced Alliance gives us the ability to manage this kitchen in our own house and not go off of Warren's ideas or when the kitchen opens and when we have to have availability for delivery. And then the very bottom bullet point there is more about like when we have unique conditions in the area, maybe COVID, when we went back to that. This gives us some flexibility to run our kitchen the way we need to if we were in climate areas like that where we have the ability to help our students. So how did we move forward with this? We had to work with our architects, and our architects said we needed to do a kitchen study. When we got involved with this kitchen study, we also had our current kitchen supplier be a part of this kitchen study so that they had a voice in it. We don't know kitchens, but they do, and so they had a voice in it to help us with this. And so we learned through this is how a commercial kitchen is operated, what is needed to operate it, and how we need to operate it. And then we also had to determine the size of the kitchen that we needed based on our enrollment and what we wanted to do with our menu. Those were 2 things that were very important to us. We wanted to make sure that we had a big enough kitchen to be able to manage what we wanted. The type of equipment or appliances within the kitchen are important as well. This was something that we learned as we went through this process. It's not just an oven and it's not just a flat top. There are steamers and many other appliances that are involved in this. And based on the food product that we want to offer our students, we are now looking at the correct type of appliances for us to be able to handle that. Layout and design was something that we also had our current vendor help us with. We're not good at that. Our architects aren't good at that either. So they had a nice voice in this to help us determine where all of our products go, where the venting happens, where our walk-in coolers are at, because we don't know the best setup for the mass production. Storage needs and walk-in cooler and freezer sizes, that's something that we didn't know, and we needed to determine, you know, how much food are we gonna be getting, how often are deliveries gonna be coming in, what size do we need for this, and where do we need to put it within the kitchen. These are all things that we reached out for them for help with. And then safety is one of the things that we were really concerned about attaching to one of our buildings. We don't want access from deliveries at 4 o'clock in the morning to be able to access our facilities. So we had to think about that in mind when we designed the building. Kitchen location considerations. This was something that we had to start to figure out when we wanted to figure out where we wanted to put the kitchen. Where was the best footprint? What made the most sense at which of our facilities? And then utility hookups. The further utilities are, the more costly it is to bring those utilities in. And we're looking at electric, consumer, and water, and gas. All of those have to be brought in, so the further those are away, the more costly it is. So we wanted to make sure that we were within our budget. So utility hookup and being close to the kitchen is important. Ventilation and exhaust is also important. As you know, all of those big hoods have to take those odors away. We want to make sure that we're pointing them away from our fresh air intakes into our buildings. We don't want those odors coming back in. So that was also a point of consideration of where we wanted to put our kitchen. And then delivery drop-offs, we're going to be bringing a semi in maybe multiple times a week. We wanted to make sure that that semi had accessibility to drop off and pick up, as well as us be able to send out our food to the other 3 locations. So that was important. And we also didn't want to be intrusive to normal school operations day to day. Pickups, drop-offs, bus drop-offs, playground accessibilities, and so forth. Those were all important to us. And then economically, we wanted it to be close to our facility and not be costly so that we had to add more to our budget. We wanted to make sure that where we were putting it and the footprint that we were putting it in made the most sense. So we looked at 5 locations when we put all of these considerations into place. Transportation being one of them as well, because we have some open property there. The unfortunate part with transportation is there would have been a lot of earth movement and utility long runs on that. So that would have driven our costs down. So we took these considerations and we walked as a team through each of the facilities and looked at each one of them that made the most sense so that it was least intrusive to all of the schools, and we picked our favorite, Prairie Trail School. Not because we have 71 acres there that are quite open, but because of it had the best footprint for us. And it was also very close to all of our utilities, so the cost there made the most sense. In addition to that, we have the solar field there. And if you remember, when we put that solar field in, we added 10% into our solar field. So we have some buffer that we can utilize to keep our electric costs down. With that, we're going to be looking at appliances that are electric heavy because we want to utilize that solar harvesting to help offset our costs in utilities. It is the least intrusive to the school operations, and you're going to see why at another picture here. Delivery accessibility made the most sense. It was actually the best footprint in this building. And then, of course, being attached to the school, there's only a few things that we have to do to the school to make this addition work versus going to other buildings. There was more work. Really not being utilized right now. We still have our walkway right here. I'm trying to make this work. I'm really bad at it.
They mentioned that lesson.
Oh, yeah. All right, so anyways, it is right in an area that is unused. We won't be moving that sidewalk, so access to the playground still works really well. And then deliveries are really easy. And again, attaching it to this part of the building is very easy to do. There's minimal disruption or movement to the building that we have to make. And utilities are really close to this area as well. So here's a bird's eye view of the property at Prairie Trail. And as you can see, the shaded area right here, that's the building. And the orange square is the proposed location for the kitchen. And this parking lot right here is the area that we're considering for our drop-offs for our food delivery. So, and we also have ample parking spaces for additional staff for kitchen employees as well. So our semis have easy access to come in, I'm getting better with this, and go back out. And as you know, as you can see here, we're also leaving that main entrance free. We're not clogging that area up, so normal operations can happen. So this is a quick look at the current design that we have for this. And again, this was, our current vendor also had a voice in this, helping us design this. So it was the most productive for them. And so here is the shop right here. And then over here is the multi-purpose room. These square boxes in blue are our storage. So we have a walk-in cooler, a freezer, and a dry storage area. Those are our areas to store all of our food. And then the R is our receiving area. That's where our deliveries will come in. And then of course we have an ample area for them to create prep and service. Our green areas here are our office for them to conduct their day-to-day business, a locker room for the employees to store their personal belongings, a janitor's closet for them to continue their cleaning in there, and of course a restroom for them to use. And again, the reason why we put these in is so that their employees are not going into the facility. We're keeping it safe as possible. We also added a dishwashing, almost like a machine that goes in this that cleans all of the trays. We found from our current vendor that they felt this was the right way to go. So all the trays will be shipped out with the food, and then the trays will be coming back to this area for cleaning and disinfecting, and then utilize the next day. So as you can see, we're making good use of all of the square footage that we have in here, which is about 3,000 feet.
Will the staff members be background checked? The students will be on the property at the same time?
Yes. So our menu options and our efficiency that you have before you is a good way of seeing kind of what we're dealing with here. We are able to bring in more fresh options of fruits and vegetables, delis, and then more importantly, meals prepared from scratch. This is something that we're not doing right now. A lot of what we have is prepackaged food that's coming in. So this gives us the ability to buy in bulk and then reduce that bulk on site, which then gives us the ability to have more accurate proportioning for each of our students when we send this out. And then better storage. Because of this, we're not going to be fighting with Warren and storage, so it will be less deliveries for us because we'll have ample storage to do that. And reduction of waste is something we talked about earlier. We can now control our waste because we can control our deliveries better because we'll be operating it ourselves. Cost savings, again, I talked a little bit about this, about buying it in bulk. This gives us the ability to reduce it on site, and the ability to prep meals for students with allergies and restricted diets. This gives us the ability to handle that on site now. So the project timeline is a healthy one. We're going to move fast through this if it's approved. Tonight we're looking for approval of the proposal and moving forward with us going out for bidding. Going out for bidding does not mean that we're accepting the project, it just means that we're bidding for the project. We can still turn that bid project down in the future when I come back to you in January with a recommendation. Final design and approval and construction documents, we should be seeing those next month. And then then we'll go out for bidding in November and December and come back to the Board of Education in January with a recommendation for our lowest bidder. We anticipate groundbreaking in May and June and starting up and not affecting Ally's normal operation over there. And then we also think that substantial completion will be done in August of '26 with the Regional Office of Education doing their inspection and giving us their occupancy of certificate, and then close out documents after that. And then our financial obligation, again, I mentioned earlier that this has already been in our debt services extension base funding, so we have the money already allocated for this to go. We talked earlier about recouping and reusing the money that we're sending towards Warren for rental. That's about $15,600. We're also considering the offset of costing and utilizing the solar field. And then the architectural fee structure of proposals before you tonight. That's what we're asking for approval of. And then like any typical construction project, we have a 10% contingency in that. Are there any questions I can answer? Yes.
We'll see if I can get it out. The power of the utilities for the kitchen, are they lumped together with Prairie Trail as it is now, or is it a separate,
Separate
draw?
building, right? Yeah, no, it will all be lumped into Prairie Trail building. So we will utilize their current utilities that are there.
So there's no problem with, draining from the building?
Very good question, no. We will make sure that that doesn't happen. We may have to upgrade our gas meter on the outside, but that's something that we will work with our gas company on. That's about the only draw that I see being difficult. Our sewer and our water and our electric are all right next and adjacent to that area.
And so with the completion of August 2026, we're talking about that it will be used in the school year right away.
The idea is that 26-27 school year will be running our own kitchen. Yes.
I figured it out.
Are there any other questions I can answer?
Is it a standalone building with just access to Prairie Trail?
So it will have access to Prairie Trail School through one door to get into the servery of the multi-purpose room, but that door will have key card access. So that deliveries at 4 o'clock in the morning will only be able to get into the kitchen and not into the facility itself.
So there's no demolition to Prairie Trail except the access door?
That's correct, yes.
As far as custodial help, will that increase because of the kitchen? Do the vendors clean up after themselves? Do we mop the floors when we're done? What's the deal on that?
Very good question. They will be responsible for their own cleanup. It'll be their area.
Okay.
Yes.
And as far as ordering food, you're not ordering food now for our facility at Warren, right? The vendors are doing it?
That's correct. Our vendors will be responsible for doing that, but we'll be able to keep a better management on them of the amount that they're ordering because we want to reduce the waste of it, right? Yes.
Two questions, going back to the cleanup. So the Quest workers will actually mop the floor and all that stuff?
Yes, they currently do now in their servery areas. So the areas that they're in now, they're responsible for doing that. Yes.
That's different than what I've seen in the past.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons for them cleaning their own area too. They follow certain guidelines for cleaning because they're serving food.
Right.
Our custodians don't have that training that they do. So their kitchen, the whole area, they have to follow certain
I
guidelines.
know because Carmel uses Quest and Warren used Quest before I left, and they still, obviously still do, but the kitchen personnel clean all the ovens and all the, and then at night, the cleaning crew would come in and mop the floors and stuff like that. But you're saying our custodians will not go in there and do that?
That's correct. They'll be responsible for that.
questions? Well, before I appreciate the work you doing on this. I think it's gonna be a great asset. I did still remember my question. The kids at Prairie Trail, they won't go through a serving line, but they'll get it the same way they've been, like almost like it's been delivered type of setup.
Correct, they won't know any different, right? They won't be able to see the kitchen either. It will be brought out to them into the servery, and they will be getting it just like they normally have.
Okay.
Yep.
That'll be good. All right, but no other questions, I need a motion.
I will. I move that the Board of Education approve the proposal from Wold Architects as recommended by the administration.
Second.
Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alrighty, and the last item, for consent, or the only item for consent today is, the Student Service Council at Viking, a fundraiser for Panera Bread, to raise money for field trips and school dances, so, any questions about that?
All right, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move the Board of Education approve the consent agenda item as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Public hasn't changed, so I need a motion to go into closed session.
I move the Board of Education adjourn an open session and reconvene in closed session to discuss pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C1 personnel, 9 student discipline, 10 student information, 11 potential litigation, 21 discussion on minutes.
Second. Roll call?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
watching this.
Okay, we're on.
You ready? Alright,
I move the Board of Education adjourn in closed session, reconvene in open session.
second, roll call.
Aye.
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 Alright, personnel.
Personnel, the motion on personnel. I move the Board of Education approve personnel recommendation as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, approve the closed session minutes from, I'll do the motion. I move the Board of Education approve the closed session minutes from September 17, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And a motion to adjourn.
I move the Board of Education adjourn the October 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Board of Education.
Second, roll call.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Mandy.
you. Thank you, Mandy.
Thanks, Mandy.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.